Hey, welcome to Bulldog Tech Talks. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Kate.
So, Kate, last week Diane and I went to the QM Connect conference
Abandoned
in
me.
Chicago. Yes,
Yeah.
we abandoned you. Did
Yeah.
you everything okay? Did
A
anything
few
catch fire?
fires, but it was fine. I put them out myself, so everything's fine. It was
Okay,
fine.
good. See, this is how much we trust you.
Yeah.
We'll
No,
leave
of
the
course.
whole university to you.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't nervous or lonely or anything like that. It's crazy. Did
All
you guys
right.
have fun?
We did. It was a super informative conference. A lot of variety in what was discussed. Diane and I were just kind of running all over the place. There was a lot of breakout sessions
Mm.
and stuff. So we'll talk a lot about what we talked about at the conference. But for now, I'll just go ahead and roll this footage that kind of gives you a brief overview and look at what everything kind of looked like to set the scene. Welcome. I'm here with Diane Richmond of Learning Technologies. Glad you can join us finally on the podcast.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so we recently went to QM Connect last week. Had a great time. We saw the montage that we just played. Clearly, you need to be the one to take photos, I think, from now on. I just got a lot of slideshows and food was about all I got. So
Well, when I travel, that is, my favorite part.
that's
So,
the important stuff.
yes.
But yeah, so man, there was just a ton of topics last week that we went over. You and I really were rarely ever in the room at the same time.
There were so many sessions. We could have had another person there and still gotten to see great sessions at every single one we attended.
But definitely, I agree. Kate's right over there editing for us. So, maybe next year. But
That's right.
But yeah, so what would you say is there one thing that really stood out to you at this conference?
Like all conferences, I think it's great to have a inspiring message at the beginning to kind of get you kicked off for the week, and that this was no exception. Courtney Plotz, who is uh, works a lot with learning science and connecting, making connections, teacher to student, student to student, and how your relationships affect your communication. And so I think that was a great way to start out um, a conference that had a lot of technology in it, talking about AI, of course, and several other things that as instructional designers and people who work with course design, we can sometimes get really focused on the tech, but Courtney's talk really helped, I think, center that on the student outcomes and relationships between faculty and students as being the most important thing. So I love that. And then it was great, after this amount of time to kind of see where people out in the field are with how they're using AI, from everything from keeping organized and taking their own notes to developing full courses, and how they're cutting production time, how they're raising ethical questions, that really covered the gamut. And I really appreciated kind of seeing that we are about in the middle, I think. We are not the last of the pack, and we may not be bleeding edge, but I think we're in a good space to kind of see what other people are doing and where they're having success and where we might model some of our techniques on theirs. Had such good sessions, even collected a couple of books, got some autographs. I had a good time with that. So
Definitely. Yeah, no, I agree. It's just kind of mind blowing. I think you and I both kind of walked away seeing some of the stuff people are doing, especially with AI, that just totally almost recontextualizes like everything.
yes.
It's incredible.
Especially I think it's eye-opening, because when you think you kind of have your thumb on the topic and are watching and reading about what's going on, kind of experiencing what's happening, and then to go where so many great minds are working together or talking together about what they've been working on. And it's just such a place for growth, both to maybe get answers to questions you have or to see what somebody else is doing and what I want to do next, because I certainly have a list of those things.
Definitely. I know our team tries to be pretty optimistic about AI. I know there's kind of the discussion on, first of all, how do we prevent, cheating? How do we
Right.
prevent this from just kind of ruining everything? But this was definitely not the discussion at all last week. Like last week was more just how do we use this to just make our lives just so much better. And
Right.
I feel like we saw a lot of that with like Notebook AI or Notebook LM.
LM.
Yes, Notebook LM, which I've been playing around a little bit with. And it's just a great way. You can just upload files and it can read through your files. It can pre-read for you. It can critique what you have. And it's just a great tool that I think we could really use here.
I think that was one of the hottest titles that I came away with as well, for just its sheer versatility of what we could do. And I totally agree. This conference seemed to really focus not on prevention or detection in student work, but really what are the faculty doing with it for productivity, and how are instructional designers using it. I must say there was a session in which I, as we in our early workshops with AI, we've asked people what their P of doom, what their probability of doom was. And in one session, I must say my hand went up and I said, mine just went way off the charts to the bad side. And that was in terms of, it's still an exciting potential, but it's just scary. And it just really drives home that we don't need to lose track of the ethics of what we're doing with AI. And this session had to do with creating videos, instructional videos, and how if you were trying to do something in another language to assist people where perhaps English wasn't their first language, or if you were trying to get trying to connect more with a broader audience, how you could create videos with very little production time. Just the amount of how fast and how professional the output was incredible. But the idea that you could take my likeness and have me speak in French, or have me talk about a topic in detail, the danger of deep fakes was something that everybody in the audience was really concerned about. Like, it was super cool and would save us all a lot of time, but at the same time, the fact that it looked so good did have some scary back talk, or not back talk, but back thoughts, I guess, in how do you just constantly thinking about how we keep this in balance. So good discussion.
Definitely. I went to kind of a similar session on just using AI kind of in conjunction with video editing or conventional video editing techniques. I remember last week once I got everything kind of set up on the accounts that I was using, I took maybe about 15 minutes to half an hour and just kind of played around with it and showed you what I had created. And it was scary, almost, like,
right,
how effective it was. And I think maybe we can just go ahead and show that now, if that's okay.
Let's do that. And keep in mind that, when the kind of the rule of thumb previously that was for every minute of a video, you spend an hour in either combined pre and post production. So making a video, an instructional video especially, was quite time consuming. And so for what you're going to see.
And for the quality of this,
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely better looking than the stuff that I usually make, which if you're a viewer of the podcast, you can see it happening right now. So let's go ahead and roll that footage.
Creating a video typically involves 3 main stages: pre-production, production, and post-production. Pre-production is the planning phase where ideas are conceptualized, scripts are written, storyboards are created, and logistics are arranged. This stage is crucial as it sets the foundation for the entire project. Production is the actual filming phase where the video is shot according to the plan laid out in pre-production. This involves setting up equipment, directing actors, and capturing footage. Finally, post-production is where the magic happens. Editing the footage, adding special effects, sound design, and color correction to create the final product. However, with the advent of AI, the traditional production phase can be significantly streamlined or even bypassed entirely. AI tools can generate realistic video content based on scripts and storyboards created during pre-production. This means that instead of spending time and resources on filming, AI can create high-quality animations or even photorealistic videos. This capability is particularly useful for educational content, where AI can quickly produce engaging and informative videos for classes. By automating the production process, educators can focus more on the content and less on the logistics of video creation. In this context, almost all aspects of the video being shown, including the text being read here, can be AI generated. From script writing to voiceovers and even visual elements, AI can handle it all. This not only speeds up the creation process, but also ensures consistency and quality. As a result, high-quality educational videos can be produced rapidly, making it easier to keep up with the fast-paced demands of modern education. The following are examples of how, as instructors at Truman, you might be able to incorporate generated content into your classes. Please keep in mind that at the current moment, the Truman State Learning Technologies team does not officially support video generation this way, as we are still examining the logistics and ethics of what it would take to embrace this on campus, and that this is meant only as a showcase of what could be on the horizon. Also, this content will likely be more accurate in the hands of an expert, such as yourself.
The significance of the Battle of Hastings, not the movie and comic book store that was once on Baltimore, but the conflict between Norman and Anglo-Saxon forces, fought on October 14, 1066, cannot be overstated. William's victory led to the Norman conquest of England, fundamentally transforming the country's social, political, and cultural landscape. The Normans introduced feudalism, reshaped the English aristocracy, and influenced the development of the English language by integrating Norman French. This conquest also brought England into closer contact with continental Europe, altering its trajectory for centuries to come.
Speciation is the evolutionary process by which populations evolve to become distinct species. This process typically begins when a population is divided by a geographical barrier, such as a mountain range or a body of water, leading to reproductive isolation. Over time, genetic differences accumulate due to mutations, natural selection, and genetic drift. These differences can become significant enough that even if the populations were to come back into contact, they would no longer be able to interbreed successfully, thus forming new species. This type of speciation is known as allopatric speciation. There are also other forms of speciation, such as sympatric speciation, where new species arise within the same geographical area. This can occur through mechanisms like polyploidy in plants, where an error in cell division results in extra sets of chromosomes, or through behavioral changes that lead to reproductive isolation. For example, if a subset of a population begins to exploit a different ecological niche or develops distinct mating preferences, they may become reproductively isolated from the original population. Over time, these isolated groups can diverge sufficiently to become separate species.
Pablo Neruda was a renowned Chilean poet, celebrated for his passionate and sensuous poetry that often explored themes of love, nature, and political activism. Neruda's work is characterized by its rich imagery and emotional intensity. He is best known for his love poems, epitomized in collections such as 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair. His writing style is often described as lyrical and surreal, blending personal experience with universal themes.
Okay, so yeah, that was just kind of an example of some of the things maybe we'll be able to do soon. Again, like we aren't going to necessarily fully support this right now, but if you do want to talk to us and just kind of consult and see, kind of what we could do in the future, definitely reach out ltt@truman.edu, and I'd be happy to talk to you kind of about the process of making these video for sure.
I think the important thing there is to realize too, it's not like you have to have one expensive piece of AI software. You can kind of use a couple of tools, maybe something cool that you find, and then maybe use tools that we already have on campus or that you're familiar with on your own computer, and combine them all to make something really cool.
Right. Yeah, my workflow is definitely kind of combining multiple tools. It wasn't like I just plugged in a prompt into ChatGPT or Dolly and it made that for me. I really, there was work involved. It was just very streamlined.
Yeah.
It was cool. So yes, so this was a Quality Matters conference that we went to.
Yep.
The very first day, one of the first things that I saw was an advertisement for an APPQMR workshop that was happening. So if you don't know, that is a acronym for applying the QM rubric. I see it as kind of the second after teaching online. Is that accurate?
I think that's fair. The Teaching Online Quality Matters workshop really can introduce you to the premise of how Quality Matters works, that instructors and subject matter experts, you guys know the content and you guys are in full control of what learning outcomes and what concepts and ideas and content you want your students to work with. And then the other part of what Quality Matters focuses on is the structure and design, which is where instructional designers come in and can really help instructors design a course that both has the content that the instructors want and a design that facilitates the ease of working through it for the students.
Yeah, so typically APPQMR is a 2-week course.
Yes, pretty intense.
Yes, it is pretty intense. I was lucky enough that this January I actually got to go take a 1-day course in St. Louis. This is actually even more convenient. So this is November 22nd, December 6th, and December 19th. And each of these is one single day of a workshop. And it's online, so you don't even have to drive that 6-hour round trip to and from St. Louis. You can just do it from the comfort of your own home, and you get the full credentials for this course in just 1 day. So I would definitely look into that opportunity if you can.
It's great. If you want to learn more about Quality Matters and how the rubric can help you design a course that is accessible, that is, and I don't just mean like we might think of as ADA accessibility, but accessible and approachable by a student who maybe takes some online courses and some on-ground courses, or as students at all ages, anywhere in their career or their school journey. It is a structural approach that helps organize the material and the experience so that both students and faculty come away from a course less stressed and more successful.
So was there anything else about Quality Matters that you wanted to talk about?
As you said, it was a Quality Matters conference. So of course, several of the sessions had quite a bit to do with the rubric and with all the research that Quality Matters puts out. Quality Matters is made up of faculty working for faculty and instructional designers, of course, in partnership. But they do research all the time on learning efficacy and how we might make things better for everyone. And so a couple of my sessions, of course, were favorites of mine. One was presented by Bethany Simonich. She is a researcher at Quality Matters and has a new book coming out, which I got an autograph on. So I was happy about that. She's really good, really focused on student success, and has, of course, been a faculty member herself for a long time and is now a researcher in the field. But she gave a presentation on the HiDoc method. So you may have heard me over the years, if you've worked with me or any of my staff. We talk a lot about backwards design or other design models, ADDIE or similar kinds of things, about a way to approach building your course. The HiDoc method is another sort of take on that approach and offers guides and templates, even if you want to go that far, on how to take your materials and piece them together using the HiDoc method and building a course that then is Quality Matters certifiable pretty quickly without much extra work. And again, is just a way of laying out what you already know and love into a quality course. So that was a really good session. And then another was presented by a Dr. Jessica Kalo from UT Arlington. And she has just finished a big research project in trying to see what does course redesign really matter. You know, we have so much respect for what faculty do. They know their topic. We have so many great faculty members here at Truman. It's so nice to work at an institution where you're known for teaching. And so she kind of felt like she wanted to see, you know, what if you had a course that you just built on your own versus a course that was redesigned using some kind of quality assurance or structural method. And she used Quality Matters in that research and showed that through changing nothing else, the original course was online, taught by the same instructor as it was, where the only difference was it was redesigned using the Quality Matters rubric, and came up with a sample of over 1,000 and found a difference ratio or rate, I guess I should say, of an improvement of almost 7%.
Wow.
So for a lot of students, that would be a full letter grade. And so she was really excited about that. And of course, that was an average. And so there were some that were higher, some that were lower.
Sure, sure.
But overall, to take an average like that was really encouraging to me that our work, you know, really continues to matter, and that we can continue to be great partners with our faculty here.
That's awesome. That's just an incredible statistic. That's
Right? I was.
really speaks to the importance of
Yep.
all of this.
Yep.
So I know that we actually have our own kind of consortium of Quality Matters institutions in Missouri called
We do.
QMo.
We do. QMo is a great group.
And
Yep.
Truman was pretty instrumental in kind of founding QMo, I believe. Is that correct?
We're founding members along with ATSU and a couple of other school, Mo Baptist, and a couple of other schools that were really interested in how Missouri could share resources and share knowledge, much the way some of the other states do that are already in the international consortium.
Cool. So we've actually got a conference coming up in February. Do you know the date of that?
I don't have the exact date,
I'll
but
throw
it
it
is.
up on the screen. And
Yeah.
we'll find that out. But so while we were at this conference, and there were a couple other QMO members there, but I know you and I were specifically looking for speakers
Yep.
while we were there, and we made a couple of recommendations on Friday. So the QMO conference is not just open to instructional designers like you and I, but it's actually open to faculty as well. So we'll get that
Indeed.
information out, and definitely check it out. I think that there'll be some really good sessions come February for that conference.
Yeah, I'm excited. We have, we're going to be, like I say, involved in setting up the conference and sponsoring it, as well as hopefully Thomas and I threw our favorite speakers in the hat. And so we'll see who is the speaker.
That'll be fun. Yeah, please join us. I think it'll be great. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we go?
Not today. I think we're still going over our notes and remembering all the speakers. Of course, it's an information overload when you go to one of those.
Mhm.
And so back at work and seeing what comes in, as well as then trying to find spaces where we can incorporate some of what we learned at QM Connect.
Absolutely. I definitely felt walking away from this conference very energized and excited about just kind of applying some of the things that we learned.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks, Diane. We'll
All right.
see you later.
All right. Bye.
All right. Welcome back, Kate. Isn't Diane wonderful?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you paused there for a second.
Okay. The pause was me pondering every moment that Diane was wonderful. So it
Oh,
was like a montage playing in my head. So
You
it's
didn't
fine.
pause nearly long enough.
No, of course not.
All right. So yeah, just in closing, I wanted to talk about one app that is it's kind of a silly app, but it is kind of crazy. Just another good example of how just different AI is now. I remember that there used to be kind of it was an app that would do a little TikTok kind of jingle, and you could like
Mhm.
plug in the words. And this was just a couple years ago, and it just kind of blew my mind back then. But it was always like the same jingle, and it sounded super Microsoft Sammy.
Mhm.
Now there's Suno, which if you haven't used, you like can type in a prompt of what the song should be about, kind of what genre you want it to be, and it totally gives you just this unique song with lyrics and melody, and everything is just totally generated, and it sounds surprisingly better than you would think.
Yeah, that's an upgrade from the trend a few years ago where it's you take pictures of your family and then they have like little figures dancing. My family did that all the time. It was it's
Is
probably
this
the
Jib Jab? Is that what
I
it
think
is?
it might have been where it's like you're dancing as a little elf or something during Christmas
I
time.
think so. That's like super old.
No, well that was version 1 of this, I guess.
I guess so. But yeah, so this is Suno. So I made a really cheesy theme song for
Professional.
our team. Yeah, sorry, professional theme song
Professional. Yeah,
for our team. So
can't wait to hear it.
we'll go ahead and roll that, and I guess just you and I can just chill while that's going on.
Yeah.
In a small town where the bulldogs roar, a team of tech wizards opens the door. Diane with her prowess and a smile so wide, Kate and Thomas too, they're our tech guide. In Kirksville's halls where tech magic flies, Bernie never stops reaching for the skies. Diane and Kate bring light to the scene. Thomas joins the mix, a dream team so keen. Swipe the screen, press play. Learning soars today. At Truman State we shine, tech and minds align.